All right, for this podcast, as I'm walking around the museum here, let's look at people. The people are pretty interesting. This young girl has taken or her family have taken a liking to this artwork, and she's posing just as the statue is posing. That's so cute. They're Asian. I wonder if they're from Korea. But Rigoberto Torres, TT and Window Thomas, 1986. So the young girl was posing next to Thomas from 1986 by Rigoberto Torres. Let me make a little observation here. So when I was at Dorsey High School, I saw a student, and he's dressed as, let's see, Jay with bike, Raymond and Toby. All right. So there's an artwork, Raymond and Toby, and the student at Dorsey was wearing a hoodie, a sweatshirt, a hooded sweatshirt, and it reminded me of this work of art. Like, wow, look, by Rigoberto Torres. So I'm doing my thing, and owning and occupying, my space as I do, and I'm just noticing, the behaviors of the other guests, territorial, uh, sort of pompous, but whatever. Let's see, this one is interesting. Dancing 2 miles. I like that. Dancing 2 miles. Yeah. Titi. Auntie. That's who that is. Peering down. Ah. So, I almost ran into this woman. I could read on her phone that it said Sachin, so I believe she's Korean. She snapped a little photo of the Arabs. They look like they are Saudis. Where the heck could they be? This has to be the stock exchange. That's what this has. But can you imagine the stock exchange looking like that? That's wild. That's my guess. It's the Kuwait. It's the Kuwait Stock Exchange. Yeah. And they have seats. They're all sitting down. They're wearing their, I don't know, dish dash and kufis or whatever headdresses, but they have chairs. Unlike in America with the New York Stock Exchange, where everyone is just walking around, the Kuwaiti they have chairs on the floor of their stock exchange. Perhaps because there's less trading going on, or perhaps there's more. I don't know. All right, I just turned around and I'm staring at a red work of art in front of which there are four heads, as if these four people are seated in front of the work of art, and I am standing behind them, and we're all peering in the direction of the work of art. Interesting. That looks like Megan. No, no, no. Excuse me. I was gonna say Megan Merkel. It's that German woman who was in charge. I don't remember her name, but it's called Review from 2015 by Andreas Gursky. So it's an interesting work of art, and we are among the onlookers. Folks are trying to get pictures and do the like. So just just trying to move around, enjoy the views. I wonder what folks see when they look at these works, and what speaks to them. I wonder. We got sort of a stylized work here, like an anime, Japanese anime style. I'm looking at an Amani Lewis work, When All Is Lost, Who Do You Run To, from 2022. Miami based artist Amani Lewis grew up in Baltimore, whose history is intertwined with the population shifts of the Great Migration from 1910 to 1970, when African Americans fled racial terror in the South. During this time, Baltimore became rooted in structures of power and harsh economic conditions that continue to falsely define its communities today. Physically transforming photographs through layers of paint and application of saturated color, Lewis's intent to reframe the narrative of their larger community. He says, I manipulate and complexify images of an environment and people whose stories are manipulated and simplified by those who wield economic power over the landscape of the city. Lewis said, in When All Is Lost, Who Do You Run To? The artist depicts Jumani Nnamdi, founder and director of Nnamdi Contemporary Miami in the Little Haiti neighborhood, surrounded by a kaleidoscopic landscape. Nnamdi's portrait embodies Lewis's desire to archive their community in a loving and empowering manner. Somehow the Haitians were in the news or on my feed today for some sort of attack, and so it's very apropos that I pay homage to that work and that artist, and and read what the artist, or rather what the gallery has written about the artist. So it's important because they talked about how the larger, the more affluent community creates a narrative for the small guy, the small fry, and that aspect is that aspect resonates with me. You know, you have to take back your, you know, you have to take back the power, empower yourself. Now, there was something else that this work of art, you know, um, what idea it reminded me of, and I've since forgotten it since just walking around this gallery looking at these works. I have since forgotten. Yeah. This artist over here has definitely been someone whose work I saw in Brooklyn. Kehinde Wiley. Yep. In Brooklyn at the Brooklyn Museum. I remember seeing his work. Very regal. I believe a regal picture, a pose that is, I guess, stands in opposition to, you know, the same types of narratives that Nnamdi's work, or no, Amani Lewis's work, you know, is fighting against. And then we've got over here Takashi Murakami. Takashi Murakami, Clone 10 by Takashi Murakami from 2022. Takashi Murakami has created a black figure with a lot of color, interesting Japanese stylized image, which is dope, but also surprising, the choice of the figure. But I can appreciate it for sure. I'm looking at number 1992 right now, Charles Ray, and I'm pretty much standing in the similar fashion as this person in the work, holding himself, you know. Charles Ray, born in 1953. This work entitled created this work in 1992. It's a color photograph in artist's frame. It's a color photograph. Oh, the subject of that work kind of looks like a mannequin. Well, no, not a mannequin, but a statue. but it's a real person that they have taken a photo of, which is interesting. So, how long have I been here? About 30 minutes plus the time that it's taking me to record this now. So, probably 40, 45 minutes, just under an hour. I parked outside and I had to an hour and 40 minutes to park, to stay parked there without any problems. 2 hours worth of time. You know what happened to me when I pulled in here today? Let me tell you. So the parking meter had about 45 minutes on it still, and I I figured I was going to add some money to it, so to increase the amount of time that I could stay there, and so I looked at the amount of time that I wanted to put in. I wanted to add like an hour and 40 minutes, but I paid for an hour and 40 minutes, but the 46 minutes that were already paid for that I was previously using, well, that was erased. And then my hour and 40 some odd minutes that I had paid for, they, superseded the other amount of time that was already on there. So I didn't get like 2 hours and some change. I only got the time that I paid for, which I was like, that kind of sucks. So I wanted to benefit from it, but I didn't want to have to run out of here 40 minutes later and fill up the meter again. I didn't want to have to do that. I must say, there are a lot of black images, which is pretty dope. There are a lot of black artists, I believe, in these. This is quite interesting. Quite interesting. Of course, you've got the Warhol, you've got the Liechtenstein on the other side. I'm just gonna say it. The Broad is actually celebrating black artists. Like, this is a pretty cool representation. I mean, it's a small gallery. You've got basically one floor. Everyone can, walk from room to room in. And this is like, what is this like? It's like, I lost my train of thought again. It's just one floor, many different rooms, walk in and check out the works. And that's about it. Now, let me explain something about one more time. I may have explained it on the previous session or episode, but I was bored. I was bored at home, and I wanted to come outside and check out some artwork. So I just came over here. It's free. This is a free exhibit. So I wonder, like, what inspired others to come over here to check out the exhibits. I'm looking at the Yayoi Ku something, the Japanese woman who does that interesting stuff. Yeah, so I was just at home, not doing anything, and I was like, let me just come out here, of course, make some content, and I'm going to, yeah, just make some content and spend the time at the museum, which I'm doing now. So you got all these people here doing the same thing. For whatever reason, these folks have chosen to come to the museum. Maybe they're travelers. Maybe they are like, hey, I want to know, like, yo, I want to know what LA has in store. So folks are just like stepping outside. Maybe they heard about the Broad and they're like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. Let's check it out. Me, I was just bored. I know what artwork the Broad already has. So I just decided to come on over here and check it out. No real, intention, but to just stand amongst the Basquiat works of art and check out stuff. I'm standing in front of the Eyes and Eggs by Jean Michel from 1983. And one of the reasons why I stopped in front of this one is because Jean Michel had actually, no, because when I was in South Korea, maybe an art student in South Korea uh, made a reproduction of this work, and they put it in a cafe or a restaurant, and I saw it and I was like, I know whose artwork that is. Again, it was one of those moments where I felt at home. I felt very much at home when I saw that work of art. It's like that time I was in Frankfurt, Germany, and over there in Frankfurt I was walking around lonely, as one does, and while I was in Frankfurt I was wondering what I should do, and it turned out that I happened upon a Basquiat exhibit in Frankfurt, and I was like, oh, I feel right at home once again. So that's what it was all about, just seeing Basquiat's artwork wherever I do. It was 2004, 2005, the first time I saw his work, and I've just learned more and more about more and more about his artwork. I'm standing under the massive table, you know, just checking it out. The woodwork, the massive chairs, the massive table, and yeah, that's what it is. You are a very special person. If that's not the truth, I don't know what is. I was not meant for the job or the spotlight of public life in Washington. Here, ruining people is considered sport. It says from torn up note written by White House Deputy Counsel Vincent Foster shortly before he committed suicide. Ooh, in July 20th. Wow. I wonder if these works just haven't been hung, or if they're purposely displayed the way that they are, because one work is upside down on the floor and one seems to be on its side. The one that seems to be on its side is actually, it does have a caption across the top. So even though the images are on their side, the words are written so that if you're standing in front of the work, then you can read it without any problems. So the words are equally important as the photograph. So your body is a battleground. I certainly think that statement in and of itself resonates deeply with black women. I mean, among all other women as well, especially with Kamala being on the ticket. Kamala is really making the point that women's rights, you know, that abortion is important, is an important issue for Americans to consider when submitting their ballots for their chosen candidates. This is really dope. This is really dope because there are a lot of black artists. We Shall Not Be Moved. Hank Willis Thomas. Yep. And David Hammond's African American flag from 1990. That's pretty dope. I'm standing in front of David Hammond's flag, the African American flag that he created in 1990. And the one thing that I find interesting about this is, so whenever I see this flag, I think that it's a very political sort of, decoration. And I thought that maybe it was just something that sprang forth from the mind of someone who wanted to make some money trying to, I don't know, galvanize or get support for, for African Americans. And I'm sure that someone who sells this type of flag is probably trying to do that as well. Say, hey, black people support the flag and buy this. So there's a transactional, a commercial aspect to it. But the fact that it was created by David Hammonds to be, you know, a representation of African Americans, um, speaks volumes to like where it came from. It didn't really just come from someone saying, I'm going to make some money off of the black community. This was someone who was saying, I'm going to speak up for the black community. So this was a voice. This was someone's voice. And it speaks volumes for, I think, all of us. So I think that's pretty cool, pretty dope. All right, y'all. So as I move through the gallery, I'm going to make my way on out. I've already seen the gallery, as I have done on a number of occasions, multiple times. And now I'm going to make my way to the exit. Kids running around, playing as they do. Some sort of aquatic, marine scientist, biology thingamajig over here. Yeah, I'm going to make my way on out, get some food, and continue on my way. We're at 21 minutes right now. So that's episode 2 from the Broad, live from the Broad in downtown Los Angeles. The Broad is the museum, by the way, on September 14th, 2024.